We have
Anyway.
Charlie in Texas who's calling in, who has a question for us, Dave.
Howdy. How are y'all doing?
Good. How are you,
Hey,
Charlie?
Charlie.
I'm doing pretty well. I wanted to have a discussion about what constitutes evidence, because it seems like in some of the discussions that take place on the Atheist Experience, there might be a miscommunication between the two callers. So maybe if I could address that, we might be able to discuss a little bit
Sure.
what problems I may have with. Okay. All right.
Evidence are simply facts that are favor a particular conclusion.
Oh, okay. So facts. Because what I took evidence for you to mean is because you've said in the past that methodological naturalism doesn't have access, or as far as you know, can't assess claims about the non-natural. Right?
Correct. That's methodological naturalism does not include a mechanism to address anything other than the natural world. And there isn't currently strong evidence that anything other than the natural world exists. And when there is, then we would then have mechanisms within sciences, et cetera, to investigate the supernatural or the non-natural.
Well, to be fair, I agreed with your first claim that the sciences aren't going to have access to studying things that are non-natural.
Well, that's the way it is currently.
They're
Yes.
going to be Yeah, but I think that I take it that science is going to be trapped, or it's going to be stuck in the realm of studying law-like relations between physical things. And so, if
It's going to study things that are based on, evidence, empirical evidence, et cetera. But if something other than the natural world exists and there's evidence for that, then I don't see any reason why that would be precluded from science.
Right. So that's where the disagreement is going to come from. Because
why would, if there was evidence for a non-natural X, why would that then be prohibited? Why would there not be a science about that if there's evidence to evaluate? Because science is just about knowledge. It is not by definition only this particular field. We need methods to allow us to detect and investigate a particular field. So before we had microscopes, we couldn't investigate the microscopic very well. And so if in fact there is a way to detect something that's non-natural, why wouldn't we be able to investigate it?
Well, the thing is that we're talking about evidence as like a physical thing. But whenever we're talking about something like in philosophy, when we can derive some things like a priori, or we can conceptually analyze.
A priori is not a derivation; it's an assumption. But I don't understand the.
Fair, but
I keep asking the same question, and I'm not getting an answer. And that is, here, maybe this is easier. Are you convinced that something non-natural exists?
Yes, and I can't, but I wouldn't be able to show physical evidence for it.
What reason do you have to think that something non-natural exists? What is this thing that is non-natural that you think exists?
Well, it's going to exist in virtue of the impossibility of the contrary position. So that's
okay. Stop, Charlie. I'm saying,
okay.
What is this thing that's non-natural that you're convinced exists, and why?
Right. So I can give the argument for that. So then,
could you name the thing first? Give me tell me what it is.
Right. It's going to be, but what I'm afraid of is that you're going to say it's a material thing. And you're just going to negate me and then move on. But
well, then tough shit. If that's the right answer, if that's the answer that I'm coming up with, then that's the answer it's going to be. Why are you being cagey and avoiding this?
You're dancing around the answer, Charlie.
It's really annoying, and I'll hang up. I got other callers waiting. What is it that is non-natural that you think exists?
Yeah, it's going to be beliefs.
Okay, we've already had this discussion, Charlie, and beliefs don't exist as things unto themselves. As far as we can tell, beliefs are nothing but brain states. I am done with this conversation. You're not going to waste any more time on the show with this. Goodbye, Charlie. We've been down that road before.
Has he called him with that before?
Oh, yes. And we had this whole discussion round and round, and that's why I knew we were back to it again.
Well, you know, when somebody evades the answer directly and starts to say, well, you're going to say that, you know, that they know they don't have a position. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Sorry.
Oh, beliefs are non-natural and they exist. No, that's not to the extent that a belief exists, it exists as a brain state.
Trying to say that there's evidence for a belief. What? I don't even know how to get my head
I think there's
around
plenty
that.
of evidence for like beliefs.
No, to demonstrate that a belief is true, because oh my God.
The defeater, which Charlie already knew I was going to get to, which is why he called in with a completely different topic listed.
Mm-hmm.
The defeater is this: do you have evidence of a belief existing absent a brain?
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't.
No.
And you don't have it clearly doesn't exist as a physical thing, but it doesn't exist without a brain. Ah, Dave.
I know. How do you do it?
Sometimes I do it wrong though.